Oh, I've never seen that before. Oh, here we go.
There you are.
Yeah, it's good. A warm welcome and hello from the Philippines at the middle of the storm. Bright sunny day going on here. So I hope everyone's okay. We've got Mr. Forney over there in Thailand. We've got Mr. Pringle there in Florida. And we've got sort of Dave joining us down the front as well. You have to introduce yourself, Dave, when you come around to it. So how you doing, Mr. Forney, sir?
I am doing excellent. A little tired, but everything else is good. I drank coffee. Like I always say, oh, coffee doesn't affect me. And sure as I said that, last night I drank some coffee and there was no sleeping until about 4 a.m. So I'm running about 4 hours sleep. So my eyes are a little droopy. That's probably why.
Welcome to the club. Very good. What of yourself, Mr. Pringle? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing just fine. The night owl
Good.
always gets to bed late, but
Yeah.
it's
So
fine
that's
today.
a standard for you, isn't it? So,
Yep.
I want you to notice something. You see what's on my head, by the way? The first week I got here, I lost my hat. And for 2 weeks, I went without a hat. And so I searched and searched and searched, and there was no New York Yankees hats to be found in Chiang Mai, Thailand. You would think that that would be odd, you know, that I would not be able to find a New York Yankees hat, but especially one that was $10 that's a Chinese import fake. But I could not. So now I actually have a Yankees hat on that's too tight. It's about a whole size different in my fitted cap. And so like all day I'm pulling on it, trying to make sure I don't get a headache anymore. But anyway, that was my adventure. But so I can tell you this is like my binky, like when your kid has a pacifier. This is like my binky to have my hat back. So I've been much more confident, than in my life now that I got my hat back. I don't feel naked.
well, you were complaining about how long your hair was and now unmanageable. Well, that's why, because you didn't have a cap on to control it.
That's true. But I did get the best haircut I ever got for $4 a week ago too. So.
Oh, there you go. I can't remember what they are, but there you go. I had a decent shave the other night, put it that way. So, very good.
Very good. Let's not dilly-dally too much. I know we got a bunch of people on the line today, and we're going to talk about maybe some more basic stuff today, but I think this will apply. There's definitely parts of this will apply to anybody any position you are in your business. Some of these things may be past where you're at because, well, actually many of them will apply. But we're going to talk about the first 5 steps to starting your business. There might be 7 in there, but we'll talk about the first 5 because some other people here on the line might have some ideas of what they think. But these are the basic 5 ideas that I think are the most important things when you're starting your business. We can get caught up in a bunch of things I think that maybe aren't necessary. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I guess the first couple of things, and I guess they go together, which is you got to start out with some realism to what you're going to do, which to me comes down to what's your strategy in your business, as in any other business. Like, what's your strategy to become successful in that business? So that's the first thing before you do anything. You got to sit down and decide, okay, what kind of business am I going to have? What kind of products am I going to look for? And then what do I see my business doing? And then in that same process, you've got to sit down and say, I love this. I thought about this the other day, and it's something that everybody does, but I don't think we make conscious decisions in that says this. What does my life look like when my business is successful? One more time. What does my life look like if my business is successful? So probably the most important thing that says in your mind, well, when I'm successful, this is what my life will be like. I'll have more time with the kids. I won't have to work as much. And that's the key component at that point, that you don't get what I call the superstar syndrome, which is lots of people start out with this idea that they're going to become rich. I'm going to be rich and make $1 million a month. And I bet you if you go talk to 90% of people who even have this business, they will tell you that they're probably not rich. And becoming rich in this business, here's what it's going to do for you. You're going to have a bigger job than you might have now. Now, if that's what you like, but you got to define that, because if you're like, I'm going to sell $1 million, well, I promise you, if you sell, well, maybe not $1 million, but if you sell $5 million worth of product, you have yourself a 60-hour-a-week job again. So don't set your expectations so high that you've now created what you didn't want in the first place, which is, I'm going to have more time with my kids. Well, let me tell you this. If you want to have a $5 million company, you're going to spend every day of your life running a $5 million company. Now, I can tell you from my experience as a business owner, I don't care what you do. Bye-bye. I can tell you as my experience as a business owner that running a multi-million-dollar business, I don't care what business you own, is a full-time job. I mean, think about how many problems you might have to deal with customer service. Think about inventory problems all the time. What's being shipped? Where's the shipping at? Where's the shipping customs problems at? There's how many taxes do I got to pay? So there becomes all of these problems that you set yourself up for when you don't have a realistic option of what's going to happen. If you can't envision what your life's going to be like, and then really have an idea what your business like is, and which that includes a very important thing, which is, what is a win? If you don't define what your win is, I think people get caught up a lot in their lives without going, and they don't even realize sometimes that they've accomplished what they set out to do, and they actually have everything they wanted, but they're not realizing it because they don't know what the win was. So that's that first step. Make sure you have a strategy in the sense of what you're going to do and what you want your life to look like. So I want to spend more time with my kids is my goal, let's say. And me being with the kids is going to have to take me working less, or me not working overtime, or me not having to work at all. And I imagine lots of people have that idea that you're going to not work at all. Well, it's going to be very difficult. And number one, not to say that any of these things can't happen quickly, happen the way you want them, and the way that the superstar syndrome would tell you, which is, man, I'm going to be a superstar. I'm going to be the best basketball player. I'm going to be the best athlete. I'm going to be the best singer. I'm going to be the biggest. Well, when it comes down to being the biggest, let's really think about that. What's the reality that even if you're a great singer and you have a great music, or you're a great athlete, or those kind of things that become that kind of superstar money out of nowhere, that's going to happen for you in starting a new Amazon business, especially if you've got $10,000. Now, if you're starting this company and you've got $100,000 or $50,000, but probably more like $100,000, and you're starting a business that has a really sound financial foundation, you've got a lot of things that, cash makes a big difference, and I don't care what business you're doing. So if you've got money and you're going to spend that money on, your business, and it's a large investment, well, there's a little bit more reality that you could get quicker success because of cash flow and things like that. But so the superstar syndrome says, my goal is I'm going to be rich. Well, you're starting out with a goal, to me, that is probably and likely not reality. And so you set yourself up from day one with this failure, because even if you're going to be a superstar success, you're probably not going to be a superstar success in Amazon instantaneously. Now, well, and it's probably not even possible, because if you have a $5,000 budget, and let's say I watched a product last year, the product sells as low as $2,000 at certain times of the year, and then November, December, and part of January, it does $30,000 a month. So there's a big swap difference. Well, if your product starts doing $5,000 a month and you're going to need 30% of that typically for inventory, that means you're going to have $1,500 worth of inventory that you're going to have at any given time for 3 months. Because if your product takes 60 days to get here, well, that means if you bought $1,500 for the first month and you're selling $5,000, that means month 2, you don't have any product because you only bought $5,000 or, only bought $1,500 worth of inventory. So, if your objective is, and obviously you can't start your Amazon business right now because until December 19th, but if you thought you're going to have your inventory in there and you only had $1,500, you bought $1,500 worth of inventory, you're going to run out. You're going to run out. And some people are like, oh, yeah, I can't start my business. Now, listen, if you had your product shipped, I know some people got the product at their house. Amazon kind of surprised some people with that a little bit. But the reality is you're going to run out of inventory if you have any type of product that might be purchased. So that's where these realistic goals come in of, hey, I really want to do this. And what does that look like? Well, to replace my job is much different than wanting to be a millionaire. Okay, that's a goal that can be achieved. Now, if you're only investing $5,000 or $3,000 or $500, I mean, think about that. You're able to take $500 or $1,000 and you're going to turn it into $1 million in 3 months. I imagine lots of us get those emails in our email box every day. And obviously somebody pays attention, but I'm not going to sell pie in the sky ideas because the reality of those happening. I want people to do this. I want you to change your life. And to change your life doesn't take $1 million. What it takes to change your life is if you make $1,500 a week or you make $2,000 a week, that you could do that. Or $500, because here's the bottom line. Right now, if you can create a business online that creates extra cash flow, and extra cash flow to me is paying my cell phone bill, paying my house bill, paying my car note, paying for an extra big vacation, whatever it might be, that's my reality of what I want to happen, okay? That's something that can actually happen. If you set out with your goal is, you know what? My first goal in my business is to pay my house note. And that was mine. How can I pay my bills? Because ultimately what I wanted to do was I wanted to get out on the road and do what I'm doing now. So for me to get there, I had to pay my monthly bills to be able to be out and be location independent and be wherever I wanted to be. Now, that could still be applied if I had young kids. It could be, if I was a rock climber and wanted to do more rock climbing, whatever it is. So you have to define what you want to happen. What the reality of is what you want, okay? Thinking you're going to make $1 million probably isn't the right thing because that's like winning the lottery. And we're not here to win the lottery. We're here to build a realistic, long-term business that can help support you. So that's the first thing. And this is part of the same step, which is it's all about the strategy. So number 1 is strategy. So this is what my business looks like. So then what you got to do is walk that backwards in the sense that, all right, I am going to start a business. I need to do this much money and this much income. I would not encourage anybody right now, if you're starting, to say, okay, I want anything more that maybe in the next year to replace my current income. Because again, if you're not starting with a large bankroll, you can't get enough inventory, enough sales. So work it backwards. So let's assume you need to make $50,000 a year. And here's just quick numbers that you can write down on a pad and paper when you're debating what you're doing. And this applies to everybody who has a product just launched or, maybe 6 months. And some of you will be able to tell you, I guarantee you everybody on this call has products and they thought they were going to get their money back quicker. And guess what? They're 6 months in, 8 months in, and they're not even taking any money out because what you're doing is if you started out with $500, watch this number. You're going to make 50,000. You're going to average, and I'm always going to push you to sell a product that you're making at least 30% on. By the way, that's a very hard number sometimes to get to unless you have a super huge markup. We oftentimes put our products together and we come up and we think we're making money. Well, go apply a software program to that and actually put all your costs in there, many times your number will be down. I had a product that I would have swore to you I was making 32%, and then kept putting it in. And next thing I know, I figured I was making 24%, and there was nothing I could do about it. That's just where you ended up after everything. So let's assume it's 30%. Let's call it 33 1/3 so we can divide it by 3. And then what you want is you're going to kind of predict that Amazon, depending on your size, is going to take between 20 to 30%, 25 to 30% reality with their fees and everything and any other miscellaneous stuff. And then your product cost is going to be another 33%. So you kind of divide it in threes. And a lot of times that's a quick way. Now, is that the accurate way? No, we're when you're trying to figure quick numbers, I want to figure, okay, what is that going to cost to do that? And the third principle is just an easy way. Is it the exact way? No, we're talking in big general principles right now of your strategy. So if you want to make $50,000, well, if that's a third of the money you got to do, that means you're going to have to do $150,000 to $175,000 a year in sales to actually, be able to create that $50,000, which is about $1,000 a week. So $1,000 a week, it doesn't take crazy amounts of money to get to that $50,000. And to me, that's a realistic goal. That's a goal that you can achieve. That's a goal that you may be able to, because here's what happens. If in the first year, the only thing you're able to attain is, $500 a week. Imagine right now, if I said, look, an extra $500 comes in every week of your life. $500. Let's imagine right now in your life if $500 a month arrived in your life. $500 a month pays a heck of a car payment. And you might be able to, I don't know, you'll be able to drive a brand new $60,000 truck, but there's a lot of cars you can buy and run around in for $500 a month. There's a lot of, that buys you a brand new 60-inch flat screen every month. That pays your cell phone, your electric bill, and your gas bill, and takes your wife or your girlfriend out to dinner or your boyfriend out to dinner 3 times. So there's reality in that, and that reality will allow you to be successful. So what do you think about that, Hale? Does that sound realistic to you guys? Paul, Hale?
Yes, it does. Yeah, there's no point in shooting for the moon.
Yeah, I turned my mic off. There are a couple of things I wanted to say in there.
I knew you would.
Yep. For one thing, if somebody did have $100,000, which probably nobody on here does, but they shouldn't be investing that to start with anyway.
Yes.
You need to get some knowledge and skill and understanding of what you do, because you could blow that whole thing on your first, screw up. And the other thing is, when you talk about 50,000 a year that you're shooting for, I like to think of it more like you ended up with the $1,500 a week, because you start at the beginning with nothing, and you're not going to average. If you're making $1,500 a week regularly, 10 months from now, you're not going to average 50,000 for the year, but you are going to have made a serious, the ability maybe to quit your job. Even though you didn't make 50,000 for the year, you've built it up to the point if you're able to take that out. And you're very right. And a lot of people never realize that the money goes back in for a long time.
For a long time.
When you're doubling the sales, well, you've got to double the buy, and then you double it again. Well, you got to double the buy again, and you haven't taken any money out yet. The potential of making a lot of money, but you don't start taking money out until the thing kind of settles out, and you're now selling X number a month, and you have been for 2 or 3 months. Oh, okay. Well, I don't need to be doubling the buy anymore. So there's a couple of things there that I'm just saying, that people need that knowledge. Don't go throwing everything you have at your first product, because it's just like, Rob, you ran bars and restaurants. If I had $250,000, could I go out and start a bar tomorrow? No, because
Yeah,
I know nothing about the industry.
And by the way, there's a lot of people that think they can own a bar. I can tell you that. If you ever want to be, if right now you got 250,000, you want to be in the bar business, just come give it to me, and I'll tell you how much it sucks, and you'll be at the same place you're going to be 6 months from now with your 200,000.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I know nothing about the industry. I know nothing about the numbers. I know nothing about the subtleties, the ins and outs. And it's the same thing here. It's not a real terribly hard business to learn, but there are things that you need to learn. I mean, you just gave one the rule of three, which is the quick and dirty rule of thumb. Well, if you didn't know that, you're shooting totally in the dark. When you say, I'm going to go out and buy $1,000 worth of goods, what am I actually going to make off of it? Well, if everything kind of works out roughly, you'll get $330 to invest back into more product, which a lot of people think I do $1,000 and Amazon sends me, $600. Boy, I just made $600. No, you didn't. You already spent half of that on the goods. So the fact that Amazon put $600 in your account does not mean you made $600. So anyway, the point is you're working toward a regular income several months from now. And so when you look at what you're making weekly, I like that better than looking at the whole year and trying to average the year. Because when I average 5 months of zero in, then I have to be doubling and tripling the last few months in order to average that for the year. So anyway, but other than that, you're telling it like it is, and that's what people need to hear, and they need to get in this. Oh, the last thing, if you're making $1 million a month, and I know some guys who are doing this. They had to move to the Philippines. They have a building. They have a staff of 40, and they're managing managers. Is that the life you want?
Right.
You really want to be a corporate CEO, because there's no way, in my humble estimation, to make $1 million a month or even a year, to make it as a solo entrepreneur. You're going to have to outsource and outsource. The bigger you get, there's the Peter principle, where you get to the point of your incompetence, and so you can start well as a small person, and then you have to hire 2 or 3 people, and that's a whole different animal. And then finally, you've hired everybody out to where you're just managing. Again, that's a whole different skill than what you had in the first place. So when you start imagining that lifestyle you want, if you really want those kind of big numbers, factor in the fact that you are going to have a big staff, and your big problems are going to be staff related, hiring and firing.
All staff related.
Yeah. So anyway.
Perfect. So there you go. And what this, talking about that $50,000 a year, well, look at that number. That means that you're going to have $15,000 in real tangible money. And many people don't think about this, and super important, and I'll stop on that, which is you have to have the cash to be able to buy the products in the future. So you're selling $5,000. You have to have $5,000, but you have to have $5,000 of inventory for 3 months, because you have what they call lead time. Lead time is 60, 90 days out before your product comes in, which means if you don't have that much in inventory and month 1 you sell 5,000, well, by the time month 2's done, you're ordering because you only have enough money. You're now out of money. So I know people that have had to spend, who have a successful product. And then all of a sudden there's shock that, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money to buy my inventory and keep up. And that will happen. Even 2 weeks and not getting a payout. Well, think about that. If you're selling, let's assume you're selling $5,000. Well, that's $750 that you hadn't planned on. And those numbers add up real quick. So what I don't want you to do is get into a business that you think you're going to be able to quit your job in 3 months and be done. Can these things happen? Yes. Do they happen often? No. 10,000 people, 1 out of 10,000 might even make the 50,000. 1 out of 1 million are making $1 million probably. Now, can you be successful? I'm not telling you not to have a goal of 5 years from now. If that's what you want to do, you want to run a multinational company and have 50 employees, by God, go out and do it. It would be the worst decision you've ever made. I promise you, you'll have more stress in that business than you do your current business. But if that's your goal, then get at it. But what this also leads back to, and is in your strategy, so what are you looking for? Well, the number one thing is the basic strategy that we teach is one, get multiple products doing small amounts that add up to this car payment, that add up to your house payment, which means, everybody's getting into these super competitive environments. Now you're trying to get in super competitive environments where people have reviews, they've been doing reviews, and you can no longer get reviews in the same fashion that people have been, gaming the system and getting reviews as of a week ago. But so first you need to make sure you have a realistic strategy. You're going to go out, you're going to find products, you're going to try to find products in lower competition that sell reasonably well, that you can sell. Now, again, we come back to that number. I can get a product that if I've got a $2,500 bankroll, well, how much money can I really afford to be successful with over the next 3 months? Well, you figure that number backwards. And so reality is, if you find a product that sells $5,000 a month, you make $1,500 a month, all of a sudden you're way there. Well, what happens is I know people, and people here on this call have done it, which is you launch your product and you're doing real well, and then 6 months later, 8,000 new competitors show up and you lost that product. Well, now your business is done. So if you had 5,000, I would encourage you to try to get multiple products launched instead of just getting one. So we want to find products that sell, but and then I'll finish the strategy part of this, but I think it's probably one of the most important things, the things we were just talking about. But like people then pick a product, and I heard it the other day, and it always just gouges me, which is, I found a product. It sells 300 products a month, and it sells, 10 products a day, and that's the product I'm at. That's my product. Wait a second. You're not competing with one guy. People are, well, that's my product on that page. I'm going to replace him. So what you're telling me is that's you telling me you're watching, a sporting event or whatever it might be. And I'm sorry, ladies, when I always use sports analogies, I guess that's just being a guy. I always relate it back to sports. But that you're going to all of a sudden go from being in T-ball, because some of us are starting out with T-ball players, and the next thing you know, in 6 months I'm going to be in the major leagues and playing major league ball. No. You cannot. It's not possible. You cannot take $1,500 and spend it up to that much money. It's just not possible in this business. If that's your reality, then do not do this business. If you're going to quit your job in 3 months, man, it's going to be very difficult. Can you do it? Yes, but don't set yourself up into failure to begin with. So that's the strategy. Apply what I call the magic 3 to that, which is every day get up and figure out, or weekly, I don't care what it is, but pick the next 3 things that you're working on. Make sure that they're logical in order, meaning that you can't skip products. I mean, don't be looking at shipping when you don't even have a product yet. Don't be looking for pay-per-click and learn about pay-per-click until you need pay-per-click. So kind of do these things in order, because as long as you're not doing the next step, you're 100% not going to get to the end, because you have to do the next step first. So get the next step, the first step first. And that's why we're going to talk about that. So strategy number 1. Number 2 is to create a reality that you actually have a business. There's a big thing about in your mind saying, okay, to actually own a business? Well, you have to have a business. And so these are the basic things of setting up the financial parts. And I'm going to give you, and by the way, let's get what's the right word? The fine print at the bottom, which says Rob is not an accountant. Rob is not an attorney. And none of these things are just my experiences. And I'll try to give you the reality of these things and how I experience them. But it may not apply, and you may need different things. So go seek legal counsel and an accounting person if you're going to deal with this. So name your business. And we've talked about this before, which is pick a name of your business. So pick a name, number 2, that is a name, unless you're going to be stuck in the same category. Like Paul's name of his is what? Phoebe's Kitchen Essentials, I think. I think that's Paul's name. So it's named Kitchen after his daughter, right?
Yeah.
So the problem is, what happens 6 months from now or tomorrow? Oh, he wants to sell, a car trunk organizer. So he's got a car trunk organizer, and now he's selling Phoebe's Kitchen Essentials. So I would suggest that you find a name that is more open, more generic. If you're going to build a specific brand, that's okay. But also know this, that you can change the name of that company that displays up there 100 times. And it doesn't matter. The truth is that doesn't really matter so much anyway. You're not selling that brand out of the gate. 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, when you've built a brand, then it's going to be important. But out of the gate, Sunset Trading Company, I always use as a cool name. I like. I've never done it, but Sunset Trading Company, or whatever it is, just try to make it somewhat generic. But and I've encouraged people to do this. So the second you come up with a name, we now got to make it in. We got to make it in the real world. We got to bring that dream. We got to bring those goals of that strategy into the real world. Well, the only way to do that is to create something tangible in the world. I mean, a thought in our mind isn't tangible. The second you bring it into the world, then you're going to be amazed at the things that will start to happen once you claim that that is yours. So that's my old thing when I talk about is get a business card with your name on it. Okay. So that when people ask you, well, what do you do? I'm an Amazon seller. That's what I do. What are you doing with that, Rob? Well, and you're able to explain. And you need to tell people. Don't be afraid of saying, hey, this is what I'm doing in my part-time work. Don't sell them on the $1 million dream, because they're not going to believe you. Hey, listen, I'm trying to make some extra part-time money selling Amazon, trying to replace my house payment, man. What are you doing? Here's my card. That's what you need. So you need a business card. And I know that seems a little out of place, but it's just so that in your pocket, you see this business card and you look at it and you're like, man, I own a business. I got a business card. And I know that's so simple, but it is so simple and it costs nothing. With Vistaprint, you go to Vistaprint.com. Man, I think they'll send you for $10. They'll send you 250 or 500 cards. So spend $10, $5, get something with your name on it, put your address, and then put something on there that means something to you. It's the name of your company you've been dreaming about. Get your dreams out of your mind and get them on paper, in a computer, on a website. Get it somewhere, but tangible is best. So name your business and get a business card. In that same step, in that process, which is part of the whole thing, you're going to open your Amazon sellers account. So a lot of these things are going to happen. Boom, 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 boom. Your strategy may take you a while and sit down. And I would suggest when you're doing this strategy and you're doing these things, I want you to write it down. Again, you have to make things tangible in what you're doing. So write it down in a notebook. Have a notebook. I have these notebooks and I go through them. Just these simple little notebooks. And you see, I have this full of stuff and scribbles and stuff. I write a lot of goals down in there, and amazing things happen is when you go back and you look at them in the past, and I go and read them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, I wrote that down. Oh, look, I do that. Like I found one before I left to come over back to Thailand. I found one that was about a year and a half ago, and I went back and I leafed through it, and I was so shocked at how many of those things I had actually done or implemented in my business because I'd written it down. And so that's another thing, you'll be able to go back and look. So write down what you want to do. And people talk about it, and set goals and write them down. Well, you don't have to make it so like formal. Man, just get your piece of paper and write down, well, I want to make $500 a week, and then kind of work the numbers backwards at thirds. Well, I need to sell this much money. This is how much money I'm going to need if I got 3 months advance. So just sit down and do some basic strategy and name your business, number 2, and get a business card and open your Amazon sellers account. All right. So then while you're filling out your account, it's going to say, well, what kind of business are you? So this is the point where many people make, I think, huge errors. So let's assume you got $5,000 and you're like, well, what do I need to do to set up my business account? I never set up a business account. I got to have a business. I got to have a corporation. I got to have LLC. Well, let's talk about that. What kind of entity are you going to be? Are you going to be a sole proprietorship? Are you going to be a limited liability company? Are you going to be a corporation? So there's basic setups for your business. So I'm going to blow a lot of people out of the water with this one. I don't think you need to make all those decisions today, because here's what you're going to create. If you go out and form an LLC or a corporation, what you're going to create for yourself is more problems to back out. Meaning a corporation or an LLC, if you use an attorney, it's going to cost you between $1,500 and $2,000. By the way, attorneys get paid $300 an hour, $200 an hour, depending on, you can get a cheap one for $100, $150 an hour, but I wouldn't want to use them. So you're going to have to figure out what the entity of your business is. So LLCs and corporations create FedI tax ID numbers. Now, what you're not going to predict is that your accountant's now going to charge you an extra $500 a year to file corporate taxes. Now you're going to have to every year pay to be in business with the state because you have a corporation that has to be then listed with the state and register with the state. Every year that has to be paid. You might incur property tax, which means every bit of inventory that you have, they're going to charge you property tax because you own it and it's called property. That may not be in all schools. I mean, some of these things may not apply to the state you're in, but an LLC or a corporation takes more money and more work. When I suggest you're not at that level where you need to do that, because what happens is if you not start that way, it's nothing to say that you can't go back and start a company and use that income and call it corporate income anyway. It just matters how you apply the money. The IRS just wants their money. So don't set yourself up out of the gate thinking, I got to form a corporation. I got to form an LLC. What if somebody sues me? And we're going to talk about what the reality of that is and then what it is that that really means. So I would suggest out of the gate, wait till you have some sales before you go deciding you want to create an LLC and do this. And what happens is it's just because people are scared. They don't know the answers. And the first thing you're going to do is somebody, well, you got to start an LLC. They're going to sue you. They're going to do this. I gotcha, but I'll have a solution for that right now that'll keep some of this simple. Listen, there's a likelihood somewhere in there that you might fail. And if you fail, you don't need to create a hole for yourself that takes you the next 5 years to get out of the business. Because once you put this money in, it may cost you twice as much or 3 times as much to get back out. And I know that maybe, well, you're planning on failure. Well, no, you're not. You're just planning in reality that you need not to set yourself up. Let's be successful some. Let's get some sales going. So to me, the number that I think before you have to start worrying about this is once you've done about $25,000 to $30,000 worth of sales, then start worrying about those things. Start worrying about taxes, start working a bank account, start worrying about that. Because the reality is, if you sold $25,000 in sales, there's a zero-sum chance if you've sold $25,000 that you actually have made any money anyway. Because you have to first recoup your money. You're going to have to put money back in inventory, and those are not taxable funds. So if you invest money back in your business, that's not taxable income. So don't set yourself up in a corporation or an LLC out of the gate. Amazon doesn't care how you operate. They don't care if you're an LLC. They don't care what you are. To form a sole proprietorship, that's just you and your social security number. People oftentimes ask me, well, doesn't they require it? No. The IRS. And so don't put yourself in that position where you're going to have to file what they call a federal ID number. Now, people say, well, do I have to have a federal ID or do I not? Well, I can read you. If you go to the IRS website and there's a question there that says, do I need a Fed ID number? And most of it has to do with having employees or multiple partners or a corporation or LLC. If you operate as a sole proprietorship, the IRS is more than happy to have you use your social security number as the way in which they track your taxes. Just a number. They're just trying to track you. If you have to have a federal ID number, it's just the purpose of tracking who you are. Because if it's me and Hale in a business, we can't both put our social security numbers in there. They want a separate entity. Now, you could be a partnership, you could be an LLC or a corporation. But out of the gate, if it's just you, now if you have a partnership, that's a different deal. I still would not go out of the gate with an LLC. I would get a Fed ID number. But remember, once you get a Fed ID number, that's a whole different tax plan. And not in the sense of what you're going to pay, but it's just having to pay a tax accountant to figure this up. Because what happens when you make money and me and Hale in business goes down the bottom, it says, okay, this is how much money you made. You each get it. And then you go file on your taxes if it was income. So forming a business and going out and starting a corporation, I would just say, encourage you, not the first thing you're going to do before you get any product on Amazon, before you do anything, is to go spend 30% of the budget you may have to start this business. meaning you're going to go spend $1,500 for an attorney. You're going to do all of these things, and you don't even have one product sold. Okay. At least wait till you get to $10,000 in sales and see what's going on. But again, $10,000 in sales isn't that much. You're probably not going to have made any money. The IRS, the tax people, everybody will allow you to pay and claim that income. In most states, in sales tax, if you're going to get into the sales tax business, which we won't even talk about that today, but if you're going to get in the sales tax issue with that, the amount of money that you're going to do up front was probably going to be not enough that you're going to file quarterly anyway. So there's nothing to say that you can't start this business, sole proprietorship, go out and sell for 6 months, and then do all those things and make the same tax implications, make all of those reasons why you might start a corporation or an LLC down the road. Wait till you get $25,000, $50,000 in sales, and then have a legitimate reason to go look at those other options. Now, saying that, I'm going to share with you my own personal business experience. I've had probably 20 different LLCs in my life. I have been sued, I don't know, 15 times. Matter of fact, I got served for the first time ever in my life. I got served with a lawsuit last week through an email and a registered letter to a PO box. And they've got a judge has set a hearing for what they call a default judgment on something. And they haven't talked to me. They sent me an email and they sent a registered letter. Again, I got sued. Now, this wasn't a personal liability issue, but so you got to deal with that. So are you going to form an LLC or a corporation? I suggest up front to slow back that roll just a little bit and see if you can get this business started. You can go back and fix all of these things if you've got sales and you've got a reason to. If not, later on, you're going to be backtracking, trying to get yourself out of this if you're not successful. And don't think that you're going to invest $5,000 in a business and then let's assume maybe you picked the wrong product, you had too much company, whatever it might happen. Then all of a sudden, now you got to spend another $5,000 over the next year, borrow money, do whatever to be able to file your taxes, to be able to do a bunch of things that you didn't predict that were going to happen because you formed a corporation LLC. So in my business, I've formed many LLCs. I've been sued. Now, let me tell you this. So here's what you're not realizing about. This is probably the most important thing you'll hear about being sued in an LLC and where the real money is. And that'll be the next step, which is, okay, I have been sued, whatever the number of times are. Every single time I was operating as an LLC, I was operating as a business, had business licenses, had names on the front of buildings. They were all not me. Okay. I worked a business that I did for 10 years and I did business with a gentleman for 10 years in multiple different companies. He never even got a check with my name on it. Only 3 times in 10 years did I actually sign a check because I had managers, I had people, I had an accountant and a CFO that would send money out. I didn't even touch checks. And the checks would actually say the name of my company, blah, 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 LLC. Sign those checks, send them out. And every single time, certainly with personal injury, always, but every single time I was ever sued and people falling downstairs, I got sued one time because a guy came in and found his wife with another girl. He got punched, knocked out. And then honest to God, his wife sued me because she said that I did not have enough adequate security in the building to protect her husband who got knocked out by her boyfriend. And she's suing me. Are you ready? She's suing me. And I can't remember the exact term, but she sued me for the fact that her husband could no longer have sex with her. So she had somehow in her life, that was her attorney. She sued me for the fact that her husband was, stupid enough after getting knocked in the head by her boyfriend that he couldn't have sex with her anymore. And she sued me. So, but every single case that I was ever sued, I was sued personally and the company. Well, wait a second, Rob, I have an LLC. They can't sue me and take my house. They can't. I didn't say they were successful. I said they sued me personally and they sued the corporation. They always named me because they just name everybody. Rob Fortney, blah, 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 LLC, the neighbor, the next door. They name everybody. They're trying to find out where the money is. Second thing is attorneys only go sue people who have money. Attorneys cost $300 an hour. So just to file a lawsuit against you with a company and you have sell a bad product or whatever, people are going to have to spend a lot of money to even get to the gate to be able to form a lawsuit. And if they realize you don't have any money, not saying you can't avoid this, but I'm going to give you the next magic step right now, which is probably way more important than all of those things is insurance. Because when somebody sues you, the real money may not be in the end result. The end result may be, how do you pay for your attorney? So they've sued you, and maybe you have an LLC and you operate as an LLC. But when they initially file that lawsuit and it has your name on it and it says, Rob Fortney, blah, 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 LLC. Well, for you to get off of the lawsuit, meaning you got to go to a judge and you got to say, Judge, listen, I operate as LLC. I don't do this and I don't do that. If there is even 1% chance that you might have been negligent in what you're going to do, 1%, you're negligent, meaning you've done something that's super bad you shouldn't have done. You made a decision to buy a product and you knew that it was a bad product. Or there's even a rumor or even any thought process at all that you could be personally liable because you are negligent. The judge will not take you off of the lawsuit. He will let you sit in there till the end. Have had that happen 6 or 8 times. He just does it because they want to give people the opportunity to present their evidence to him or a jury to make sure that you weren't personally negligent. So if you made any errors in what you've done, now all of a sudden you're personally negligent. So here we are. You have a corporation. You've now been sued. And now what? The money in this lawsuit's all in hiring the attorneys to go ask the judge to take you off of the lawsuit. That's where the money's at. The money's all in the judge, you going and talking to a judge and asking him to get you off the lawsuit. That may not happen. Well, that all costs money. And so all insurance is it's an insurance policy. That's what insurance is. It's an insurance policy that says, if this happens, I'm going to pay for your attorney. Because there's really not, in a liability case, there's really not property protect, but you will get property protected, and how I'm going to explain to do this. So get insurance long before you do anything else. Now, again, lawsuits are there. If you live your life in lawsuits, then you may get sued. You're probably not likely to get sued on Amazon. You're gonna have to do some really bad stuff. I mean, you have to sell those hoverboards and burn my house down. Could it happen? Yes. So if you're gonna protect yourself, I would suggest get yourself some business insurance. And so what we call that is a basic business owner's policy. Basic business owner's policy. You don't want to call your insurance company and say, I want to get product liability. I want this. I want this. You call, first of all, getting product liability is super, super, super hard. Okay. Costs lots of money. So here we are again. You're trying to buy some product. You got $1,500 and somebody says you got to have an LLC and now you got to have insurance. And you're like, wait a second. I just got to spend, that's 3 times what I have my $1,500. So you don't do it. Go spend your $1,500 and try to figure this out. It's a small business. 99% of people start businesses without having insurance, without having an LLC. They're just out there trying to figure out how to do it. Sometimes it happens by accident. So if you're a strict rule player, you can't do this for $500. You cannot because you can't do all these things with $500 and still buy product. So basic business owner's policy, and how you get that is you call maybe your local insurance company that you have already. You can shop around and they're in the phone book or right. But a basic business owned policy is kind of an overall blanket for a business, and it includes liability. It includes product. Because here's what happens. Let's assume you bring your product to your house. And you have it in your garage, and your garage catches on fire, well, and you've got 7,000 pieces of this. It's going to be hard telling your homeowner's insurance policy why you had, this product in your garage and you lost it. What if somebody, while it's in your garage, comes and steals it? Your neighbor runs it over, whatever. So part of this basic business owner's policy is that they'll cover some of your property if it's at your house or whatever it might be. So that's a good thing. But really it comes down to, will it cover me for personal liability? I've done something negligent. My company's done something. My product hurt something, whatever it might be. But basic business owner policy is a very simple thing. It will cover you up for personal liability, but don't get into trying to get product liability, because it's probably not going to happen. So if you're really interested in trying to get product liability, you're going to spend $10,000, $15,000 instead of spending $500 for insurance for basic business owners. And so until you're a larger corporation, you won't need any more than that. So you go to your insurance guy and you say, listen, it needs to be worded like this. Don't get yourself into like, well, I'm going to sell products online and be a worldwide distributor, and I'm going to sell $200 million a year. First of all, basic business owner policies are based upon your guesstimate of how much sales you're going to do that year. Okay. So go in with, I'm going to sell $10,000 a month. I mean, $10,000 a year. Have them quote it on my little. And so here's how you got to phrase it. First, I'm starting a small business, Mr. Insurance Guy. Yeah, you're starting a small business. Great. Well, I'm going to get some products, and I'm going to try to sell them online. I'm going to have a website. I might sell some on Amazon, and then I'm going to maybe sell some out of my garage. Now, this is the tangible part, is if you include the fact that you're going to sell tangible product, you're going to visit your friends, you're going to run this business out of your home, quote, quote. And, if your neighbor wants to come over and buy product, you'll sell it to him. So you don't have to deliver it. So you got to have this sense when you're talking to the insurance agents that, hey, listen, I'm starting a small business. Call it a small business. Don't say you're an international shipper and you want to do not get into that. Okay. Get yourself and say, listen, I'm starting a small business. I'm going to sell out of my home. I may list it online. I may do these things. So that then the insurance company guy's not going to freak out and go, well, I need product liability. Well, first of all, I'm not a big thought process that you need product liability, because the likelihood is you're not actually the manufacturer of the product. It doesn't matter. They're going to sue you anyway. If somebody gets killed, somebody gets hurt, you might get sued anyway. Go back to the insurance. So basic business owner's policy will cover you for your product, and it will cover you liability wise, but you got to say you're starting a small home business. And you are. There's no reason that you're not. That's exactly what you're doing. People get too complex and they start talking all this stuff to an insurance agent, and all you're doing is going, oh my God, I got to, he's freaking out because you've told him all these things. The less information about that you can talk about, the better. You're starting a small business, you're going to sell from your home, and you may sell some stuff online. That's all you know. And that's the reality of that. Would you sell me stuff from your house? If I wanted to buy 500 units from you at your house, would you let me come pick it up? Sure. That will also cover you for liability if someone came to your house to buy a product. You know what I mean? So they got hurt at your house, whatever might happen.
Let me stick a word in there.
Yes, go ahead.
From the insurance guy's point of view, you're starting a very small business.
Right.
His idea of a small business is a 7-Eleven or a dry cleaning.
Right.
And there we've got a $500,000, building. We've got $250,000 worth of renovation and $100,000 worth of, and that's a small business. So, you need to get it in his head that you're starting a very small business, because otherwise he will automatically jump up to that brick and mortar. And right. The smallest brick and mortar is far, far larger. I mean, if you don't have $250,000 to start a small brick and mortar, you might as well go away. I mean, it's not happening.
Right. Yeah, you're going to spend $10,000 getting a policy. My last policy, I mean, just to ensure the building from burning down was $10,000 a year. So,
or the sign out in front. How much you pay for bar signs?
Yeah. So don't get yourself into that.
Yeah.
Don't tell them your goal down the future. Don't tell them I'm going to be $1 million. No, don't tell them that. Well, how much sales are you going to do, Rob? I'm going to do $200,000 this year. Well, guess what? He's going to charge your policy as if you're going to do $200,000. Okay? That's not what you need to do. How about this? Don't tell them you're going to do more than $10,000. I don't care what you expect to do. Okay? Because guess what? They will then raise your insurance rate if you tell them when you get to $10,000 in sales. Okay? You can say, I'm going to do $10,000 in sales. Great. If you do that in a month, call them back up and say, hey, listen, I think I'm going to do $80,000. But to get this number down the smallest you can, you need to go out and you need to say, all right, I'm going to start my business. I got a small business, like I'm going to sell Tupperware at my house kind of thing. Okay. Don't go in there with complex. Do not make it complex. Just please don't be complex, because the second you start getting complex about all these things, and I'm chipping stuff and I'm doing this and doing that. Listen, you might be realistically buying a product at Walmart and going to resell it. It doesn't matter. If you start talking about all this stuff, they're going to cover you because they didn't ask that question to you. Now, I wouldn't suggest that you lie, but I would suggest that you don't have to say everything that you're planning on doing. The reality is you're starting a real tiny little small business. Like Gil said, you're selling Tupperware. And by God, if you could sell $10,000 this year, it would be great. If you sell more, you go back to your insurance guy and you say, listen, I've sold $10,000. I need to get more coverage. And they will do that on the spot. You don't have to pay for it in advance. If you say you got $100,000 or 200 or $500,000, $1 million in sales, guess what? Your insurance is going to reflect that number. Okay. So use that as your factor. A basic, and you're going to use that word. It's called a basic business owner's policy. And it shouldn't cost you on $10,000. I can't imagine it's going to cost more than $500 for a year. Okay. If your homeowner's guide doesn't have that, you can look for some other businesses, some other people, but just be realistic and tell them what you're doing. I'm starting a really super small business, super small. Because you are super small. Come on, you never sold anything. You know what I mean? Never owned a business. Don't be telling people, especially an insurance company or attorney or the government, that you're going to be this big company, because guess what? They're like, sure, come on in, give us some money, sign up for this, sign up for that, give us some more taxes. Okay, you don't need any of that up front. You're just trying to start this. Don't set yourself up for a bunch of problems you ain't got time for. The thing you need to learn about is get a dang product to Amazon. That's what you got to figure out. Get a product to Amazon. Okay, all that other stuff, come back later. So basic business owner's policy, call your insurance company and say that's what you want. Matter of fact, I suggest if you're listening to this right now, get offline, go and put that word into Google and look. Okay. Call your insurance company, local guys. Say, man, just exactly what I said. Start a small business. I'm going to do about $10,000 in sales. I sell physical products. May sell some on my website, may sell some, whatever. That's it. Don't get into anything else. More information is bad information there. All right. So we covered insurance. Probably the most important thing, because now when they sue you, if they sued you personally, what happens is they go, oh, Rob Fortney, you're personally liable. Well, you got to go in and get off that lawsuit. And to get off that lawsuit, if you do, takes an attorney. Takes $200 an hour. Attorney files paperwork. And I'll stop talking about attorneys. And I love this topic because it's my most hated thing in my life are attorneys. But my first attorney said to me one time, he said, I was there and I was young and I was like, this is wrong. The government's done this to me and they're doing this bad thing and I can't believe it. And he laughed at me and he goes, hey, Rob, you know what your problem is? You first think that there is justice and you think there's right and wrong in the law. Okay. That's not how the justice system works in America. And if you think that, you've missed it, because the justice system works for people that have a lot of money, because all it is a big a negotiation for what, either how time you're going to go to jail or what you're going to pay. Just being sued one time is going to cost you $1,500 for an attorney to show up for the initial hearing. Hey, how are you? Hey, judge, listen. Yeah, we filed this lawsuit. We filed that lawsuit. Great. All right. When do you want to set a hearing for? Oh, let's set it 3 months down the road. Well, between now and then, you have to do what's called interrogatories. Well, you have to have somebody go in and you have to have your attorney call these people, send questionnaires to them, read the questionnaires. They're charging you when you're not there. So you have to pay for that. I don't care. No matter what, you may have an LLC all day long. You may have a corporation. You may have never signed a check. You may have never done anything. And they're still going to sue you personally. And to get off a lawsuit personally takes thousands of dollars, thousands. So put that money in an insurance policy for attorneys, because that's what they are. An insurance policy is to pay for your attorney. It's like prepaid legal services. All right, so insurance. So that kind of covers a lot of it. So then the last thing is a bank account. So Rob, I don't have an LLC. What am I going to do about a bank account? They won't let me know. My bank says I have to have a company. Make this very simple. Go down to your bank. Don't tell me you want to start a small business account. You don't need a small business account. It doesn't matter. First of all, you're not writing checks typically, but go in and say, listen, I would like your free checking account that comes with a debit card. Well, Mr. Fortney, you only can write 8 checks a month. Well, guess what? You're never writing any checks probably, right? So don't go to the bank. Don't let them get you. Well, you have to have an LLC. You have to. I'm not forming an LLC. Here's what I want you to do, Mr. Johnson at the bank. I want you to, and don't tell him you're doing all this stuff. He doesn't even need to know you're starting a business. You don't need to pay more money for a business account. It's just more money. There's nothing different in it. The IRS doesn't care how your money goes in or money goes out. If you keep it in a drawer at home, it doesn't matter. The IRS just wants their money. If it's on your social security number, Fed ID number, it does not matter. You do not need a Fed ID number unless you have more than 2 people you're doing business with. You have a corporation, LLC. If you're operating as a sole proprietorship, it is absolutely unnecessary. And if you go to the IRS website, it will tell you that there's a questionnaire, like 7 questions. And if you don't have those 3 things, I promise you, you do not need a federal ID number. Use your social security number up front. So you're at your bank. He says, hey, Mr. Fortney, what would you like to do? Oh, listen, I'd like to open up a separate checking account. I got this little thing I do on the side for my Tupperware. You know, I'm not saying you say that, but I got this little thing. What I'd like to do is open the account up, and I want it to be called Rob Fortney, doing business as, don't even put the word DBA, just Rob Fortney. And then they will allow you on your account. Actually, it doesn't even matter, but they will allow you on your account. So I need a descriptor in this word because I need to identify what this account is. So when I look at them online, it says Rob Fortney, Amazon sales account, or whatever it might be. So you want to call the account Amazon sales account, but it's Rob Fortney's account. I hope that makes sense. So when you're in there, you just need a basic free checking account that comes with a debit card, because that's all you're going to be using is transfer money out. The next thing is that once you have this account and you have your debit card, do not use this account to do anything except your business. It's going to make your taxes easier. It's going to make everything easier. One account. Do not use for anything else. Just get your account with a debit card and use that debit card to pay for stuff. Use it to transfer stuff out for wire transfers, whatever it might be, product or supplies and shipping, whatever it is. Use that card only for that business. So simple free checking account with a debit card that says Rob Fortney Jr. Below it, it says Amazon account. Don't use the word business because they're gonna say, "Well, Mr. Fortney, you need to have a business account." No, I don't. It doesn't do anything. Right? It's just there's reality no different. Well, you can deposit more money. You can do. I don't care. I just want a basic, simple checking account, Mr. Banker. Do you need checks? I don't need checks. I just need a debit card. I need my name on it, and go from there. And just tell them that you want to identify the account is all. And it doesn't even matter. It's Rob Fortney's second account. So see, this is my home checking account, and this is my baseball league account, or whatever it is. But don't get in to talk about business. And he's going to say, well, you need to run a business. You do not. You just need your checking account, run your business out of it, and just use it as a separate account. So if you just called it Rob Fortney number 2 account at my bank, that would be fine. Most banks will allow you to put an account identifier on it, not the name of your business. Don't even talk to him about a business. He's never run a business, doesn't know how to operate a business, has no idea. He has these rules that bankers have. So you're not breaking the rules. He's just going to tell you things he thinks, and he thinks he knows. The IRS doesn't care. Amazon doesn't care. It doesn't matter to you. You just need an account that you use to operate under. Could you possibly go out and just use your own second account? Yes, you could do that too. Amazon doesn't care where they send the money to. But for separate tax purposes, go find the cheapest account you possibly can for free and open it up and get a debit card. And now you're in business because you've made some decisions. You have a strategy. You've got a name of your business. You've opened up an Amazon seller's account. You've went and looked at what kind of company you're going to create. I suggest my opinion, not reality. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. My opinion is for you to hold off on those things, form a sole proprietorship. If you're super concerned about liability issues, remember, attorneys don't sue people that don't have money. So unless you got a big house and you got lots of things, well, then you may want to look at that. Again, call your insurance company. Say, hey, listen, I'm starting a basic business. I need a basic business owner's policy. I may have some product at my house. I may have some people come to my house to pick up product. I may sell some stuff online. Because those are all true answers, because you may do all of those things. Doesn't mean you have to do them all, but you're just explaining that. If you start saying, well, I'm manufacturing product in China, well, the reality is you are not manufacturing product probably on your first product anyway. You may be doing some adaptations. You may be adding a longer handle. You may be putting your logo on it. That is not manufacturing. Manufacturing is creating a product from a piece of paper and drawing it up and doing it and then doing something wrong is where your liability. You are likely unable to get what they call product liability insurance. But the basic business owner's policy kind of jumps past that because it's kind of a all like covering thing for small business owners. So it covers you. And the best part is that when you get sued, you'll be able to call them and say, listen, I've been sued. And they're going to say, oh, great. Here's our claims department. You're going to send your claim to your claims department because they're not, again, now you're just a number. Well, I have a policy. I've been sued. You send in the lawsuit. They'll send you an attorney. That's what the first thing they're going to do. Oh, here's your attorney. And then he's going to say, well, what happened, Rob? Well, I bought this product in China and it didn't work and somebody died and they got to sue me. And then they'll go from there. Because maybe even the best thing or the worst thing that can happen, he says, okay, well, I can get you off this lawsuit, but I may not be able to do this. So those are some basic things. The last thing I'm going to tell you is that the next most important thing after you've got those things is to get a product at Amazon. And we've talked about this. And if you haven't seen it, you need to go to Cole Imports and you need to do their process. If you haven't seen that video, if you look on YouTube, it's how to start your business with $250 in 2 weeks. Cole's Imports is if you've not been on a call or you're new, or you're listening to this later, Cole Imports is an importing company and imports about 10 to 15,000 products from China, stores them in a warehouse out in California, distributes to stores all over the country, a lot of dollar stores, those type of things. They have tons and tons of products, but this magic thing that Cole does is that they will get your product so you can be anywhere. I've got lots of people here in Thailand with me that are launching products, but what they've done is they went to Cole, they picked out their product, and they do what they call a bundle. So they take multiple products, put it in one bag, and then they ship them to Amazon. Here's the great thing. No matter where you're at, or where at in the country or the world, Cole Imports will pack it, put it together, label it, ship it, and send it to Amazon for you. So all you got to do is pick a couple products, put it in a bag, send it to Amazon. Now you have a product at Amazon. You're writing a listing. You're learning the process. You want to take a course on Amazon? Well, here's my suggestion. Don't go spend $2,000, $5,000 on a course. Go spend $500 and send some product into Amazon and learn more with that $500 than you could learn by any course. Anything that I could teach you, anything Hale, anybody in the world could teach you, is by actually having a product and going through the dang process of figuring this out. Because guess what? The quickest way you're going to not want to do this business out of the gate is, oh my gosh, I just spent the last month trading emails from China. Oh my gosh, they won't send me information back. Oh my gosh, I asked them one question or asked them 3 questions. They answer one question. And then now I'm back to sleep and they're not coming. So it takes you 5 days. And all of a sudden you're 3 months in and you still have just got your first sample. Well, I thought I was going to make money 3 months into this already. Well, that's why once you have a product launched at Amazon of any type, I don't care what it is, you are now an Amazon seller. So we're talking about within the first month, realistically, you can have a product on Amazon and launched. I don't know why my camera went away. There's no reason for that. So you can have a product launched and on Amazon for relatively in a month. Now, are you going to be making money with that? Well, I mean, let's hope you do, but it's not the reason for that. The reason for that is to actually have a business started, to actually have a product and be learning in Amazon system, to be learning how to find keywords, to be learning how to write a title, to be learning actually doing it instead of thinking, well, this is what my title's going. No, man, it's something so satisfying about actually seeing a product on a screen that's yours that you've done. You've really become a seller at that point. So the likelihood that you're going to form a second product or a third product is much higher. Now, am I saying that's all you do in your business? No. I'm saying that gets you something up and launched. So you came up with a strategy. You figured out what kind of business, the name of your business is. You went out and you've got a bank account. You may have went out and got product liability or basic business owner's policy. That's up to you. I did not, and just because I kind of seen the system and I'm not so afraid of people suing me as much because I've been sued enough times. And then, so look at the insurance. If you really want that, it's not very expensive at all. I mean, it might be $100 a year for $10,000 in sales. It may not even be that. So don't get too complicated in there. And then get a product up on Amazon. And if you don't want to spend the $200, you can literally call Kohl's and order $50, their minimum order, without charging. You can order $20 a product, but if you order 50, they won't charge you a fee, and they'll ship it into Amazon for you. Have a listing. You'll have 10 products up there that cost $1, or 50 products that cost $1. But put it up on Amazon and be an Amazon seller in 30 days. Don't wait 3 months. Don't wait 6 months while you're trying to find a product. Meanwhile, while you are doing that and you've got those things done, you've got Kohl's up there, you're working on a listing, now you're continuing to contact Chinese suppliers. You're continuing to source your product. You're continuing to look for a product. But instead of saying, well, I haven't launched my business yet, I haven't done this for 3 months, you're going to be launching a product and you're going to be able to do something. Now, let's not expect that product to make you a bunch of money. Do people, if you watch the webinar we did with Josh, I mean, he's got people buying $10,000 a week stuff from him. So yes, can you make money with Kohl's? And it's a great option to get you started because first, you don't have to have tons of money. Secondly, you don't have to have tons of risk. And you get to experience what it's actually like to be a seller. And man, there's something about in your brain. Man, I did this. I did it in 30 days. I got a product to Amazon in 30 days. It's not the product that I really want to do. But here's the question. Do you want to bet all your money and you never looked at football before? So again, I'm sorry about the sports analogies, ladies, but so you're going to bet football and you've never even seen, oh, okay, I have a friend who comes over last night. He makes a living and he bets on soccer or football here. He bets football. That's what he does. He gambles on soccer matches. That's how he makes a living. Okay. I don't know how he does it, but he does. That would be like me going, hey man, give me what you're doing. Tell me about it. And then the next day you going out and you risking $5,000. I'm betting on football games. What's the reality you're going to win? None. Well, do you want to start a business, try to launch products from China without ever doing this and waste your money on your first out of the gate? Also, don't spend all your money. Don't go out and spend $10,000 on your first product and spend all your money. Split that money up. Spend $2,000, then $3,000, then $5,000. Like you have to learn the learning curve. I promise you, if you listen to anything Rob Fortney, there will be a bunch of roadblocks in your way. They will stop you. They will make you go, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I did not see that coming. It will happen. It will happen. You will have days in which you wake up and go, are you kidding me? Amazon? You mean Paul and I just had this with doing our Kohl's product. We happened to pick a product, we said the wrong thing in the listing. They banned the listing. I said we were doing the Zika bans. They took the bans and they said, oh, well, you use the word Zika and we're not allowing you to do that. Then the second time we sent it back in, they said, oh, this is a hazard product. Well, it's all natural citronella. Like, how could it be? And then they said no again. So literally, this was, I don't know when the Olympics were, but we were a month before the Olympics when we went to launch this product. And guess what? Will the listing go live this week? I mean, I'm out telling people, oh, start your business in 2 weeks, $250. Well, don't pick the wrong thing because we didn't see it. We didn't see it out writing on the wall. We didn't realize that all these things were going to happen. But guess what? They did. They happened to us and we've done it, So don't get yourself thinking that, that you're just going to be able to do this with all your money. It comes back to that strategy and what you're trying to do, which is have realism in what you're doing. Don't buy the pie in the sky, going to make $1 million sales pitch because that's not reality. And it's not really going to happen to you. 1 out of 1 million people. So that's my first 5 steps to starting a business. I'll review them one last time. The first 5 steps to start your business. Come up with a strategy of how you're going to do this business and write down what your realistic goals and money are to do and how that will work out financially. I want you to name your business and I want you to get not a credit card. Well, you're going to need a debit card, but I want you to name your business, make that a real tangible thing, and then put it on a business card so that you actually have created something tangible in the world. You are going to be shocked more than anything how much that actually makes. It's because instead of talking about doing it, you've actually done it. There's a huge psychology in your mind that says, well, I've invested in business cards. I got a business. I can't just quit, because there's going to be days when you wake up and go, man, I'm not doing this. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. I can't believe I even tried this. That business card may hope you stuck in there because you've already done it. Plus, if you send a product and you got it to Amazon, you're really have a business. And that's why I want you to do this in the first 30 days you get started. So business, name, then you're going to get a bank account. And in that same process, you're going to decide what you're going to be. If at that point you're going to form an LLC or corporation, great. That's your choice. I would suggest you wait until you have 10, 25. I probably wouldn't even worry about it until I did $50,000 in sales before I worried about any tax people, any taxes. You can always go back and pay those taxes once you have a deal. Like, you don't owe the IRS except once a year. And then the reality is with the IRS, you have that year plus you get another 8 months till October. I just filed my taxes from 15 today. So, and you know, there's no penalty unless you owe money, and that penalty is very small anyway. So don't worry about federal taxes. I wouldn't worry about sales tax. Don't worry about any of those things until you sold some product. You know, filing for sales tax IDs and federal IDs and all those things, man, it's just like you're getting into advanced things and you don't have anything yet. So let's wait till you get some sales to do a lot of these things that I think are not as important. Oh, and one of those things is don't go out and form websites. Don't go out and take courses on Facebook. Don't do any of those things. None of those things matter right now. Only thing matters is getting a product imported from China and getting a product online. And then you're going to look for a business owner's policy, for insurance, and then you're going to go to Kohl's. And what you're going to do is you're going to get a product launched in a couple weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. Just don't pick the wrong product. Pick very simple products. So that's kind of my steps that I would suggest you do to start your business. I think they're very basic. If you went and talked to your attorney and you asked him these questions, he would tell you that I was the craziest person in the world. He makes $200 an hour to tell you that. He's never been in a business. He may start his own attorney's business, but you know, are they great business people? I don't know, but he gets paid, and your accountant's going to tell you the same thing. Oh yeah, you got it. Man, he's not a business owner. He doesn't have any guts to go out and do something on his own and spend all his money to try something. He went to school and started a company and started doing digits. I'm not taking away from accountants. I don't like accountants. I don't mind. My accountant's good, but I don't like bankers and I don't like attorneys. Most unfavored people in my life. So put yourself in the game. That's what you really got to do. Put yourself in the game. It's not as complex as you're making it out. There's not all these great decisions. Go to the bank, open up a bank account with your name on it, get the debit card, sign up for an account. And if you're really cautious, go get a business owner's policy, pick a product, send it in. Simple, simple, simple. All right, Hale, I'm sure I'm not the best communicator sometimes, and I run around in circles because this is probably my favorite topic to talk about. I can't tell you how many times I've ranted on a group page about people saying they need to form an LLC or a corporation. Reality is you're going to get sued personally anyway, and the only way to get off a lawsuit is to hire an attorney. And guess what? It could cost you 10 grand to get off of a lawsuit. So put yourself on it anyway, personally and whatever company, if you had one. All right, Hale, tell me what you think.
I think you did a really fine job. I've got 2 small things to add. One of them I'm adamant about, and that is when you talked about your insurance, there's another kind of insurance. Buy something like Backblaze that backs up your computer offsite automatically. Assume that your house is going to burn down. You can get a new computer, but all the pictures, all the descriptions, all the products, all the contacts, everything is gone. Well, if you've got a system that's automatically backing up your hard drive to Utah or someplace, then you buy a new computer, you tell it to restore, and you go on about your business. But otherwise, you say, oh, I am, and I won't use the Lex word, but you're definitely in a extremely hard place. You know, I like to keep even passwords and things online insecure. And I use a product called LastPass, which keeps my passwords, and I put a few other odds and ends in there because it's everything's encrypted, and it goes out encrypted, it comes in encrypted. But assume your business is going to burn to the ground. It will be a royal pain to recover. But if you don't have any, I mean, I know people who back up to CDs and DVDs and they put it in their drawer, and the fire comes and their backups and their computer are gone. So that's a kind of insurance that to me is pretty critical. The second one, I don't know. I'm going to say it. It's very easy to do, and it may save you some money. You got your business account, whatever, it's an account for your business. Well, you're going to deposit money in it from your personal account. I put loan on the description down at the bottom, because then if I get to a corporate level type thing and I'm really, really doing well,
right,
I can take that money back out, and it's not income out of my business. It's just repayment of the loan. And I'm not an accountant and whatever. It's not hard to put that word loan on the bottom in the little description field, and it may save you some money. So those are the two thoughts that I had that went by.
Well, very good. Paul, you have anything to add to that?
I don't think I can add anything that you've already covered. No, I think you've covered that really, really well. Excellent job.
And as you can tell, I'm kind of passionate about this subject. I knew when I talked about it, I could probably sit here and talk for another hour about this, because I just see people failing when they don't need to fail. Like, they're failing before they even start. Launch a product. Start today. Go get Kohl's. Don't even have to form a bank account. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have a bank account. Send it in your personal checking account out of Amazon. Then a month from now, worry about all this stuff. But none of this matters. It's all a bunch of nonsense that's going to get in your way of actually being a business owner and actually being an Amazon seller. Man, get a product. Call Kohl's today. Look up, put a bundle together, and send it in. Then start worrying about all these things. Pay with it with your debit card out of your house. Amazon still ain't paid you out. Put your personal checking account on there if they're going to send you money. It doesn't matter right now. You don't have a business, okay? You have a business once you make a sale. So figure out how to make a sale, and you have to do these things to make a sale. But we want you to have a product on Amazon as quick as possible. This nonsense of waiting for products to come from China and do all this stuff, to me, is too far down the road for you to maybe get there and have enough tenacity to be able to continue. If you don't have any success for the next 3 months, and Chinese suppliers are just beating you to death, and you're having problems with shipping and whatever it might be, like, I can tell you this: if you think you're going to be able to launch a product in 30 days out of China, likely no. So don't get yourself caught up in not being able to create any great success. Spend a little time, learn, and then while you're learning and not wasting lots of money, you can go and then use that money to actually buy a product and start a business. Okay, so take your money, instead of investing in all these other things and corporations and filing tax and do all these things. Get a product launched. Make sure that you want to do this business. Spend $500, and then if you want to back out, doesn't matter. You just go, okay, I'm done. And if you use your personal account on it, you just close it up, and you're all done. And there's no reason. You don't have any income. The IRS doesn't care what you spent your money on. They don't care. Okay, so that's my thought process there. Anybody have any questions? Anything like that they have? Hold on, let me look here. Any questions, Paul, from the gallery?
Not regarding the topic. There's a couple of questions on there. One, how's our mosquito repellent bans going? So I just replied that, Amazon being Amazon, they said, hi, you've got Zika in there. No, you can't do Zika, so we're going to suppress your listing. Oh, hello, darling. And then once we changed the listing, they took an absolute age reviewing it. And when they said, oh, yeah, okay, good. But you're now hazmat. So again, we were suppressed until they gave us approval, because they looked at the ingredients and said, oh, yeah, it's just made of lemons and stuff. So you're okay. So finally.
But you're forgetting to tell them in the middle of that, I had to have the product shipped back to me.
Oh, yeah.
Get back in. So yeah, you forgot about that. Actually, remember, we gave up on the first listing.
True. Yes.
So yeah, I mean,
yeah. So it was a second listing that they said, "Ha, hazmat." Yeah, away we go.
Right. So first it was Zika, and then it was hazmat.
Yeah. So eventually we got the products up, and they're in. I think they arrived over the weekend. So we are now live. So we're going to start doing stuff this week.
So sometimes 2 weeks and $250. Amazon's going to get in the way of doing that. And then, so now we spent 2 months screwing around with this. Now, can I tell you that it was an everyday priority and I spent every day? Well, because it was not as a priority as other things in my life, we didn't hustle every minute trying to do it. But Amazon took weeks and weeks. I mean, a month and a half before we decided just ship it back and we'll do it again.
Yeah, I've got emails virtually every other day saying, dear Mr. Adams, thank you for your patience. We are working with our technical team to review this. I hope we can resolve it soon. A couple of days later, dear Mr. Adams, thank you for your patience. Crazy.
So that kind of covers that topic. I know some people have been interested in talking about competition and reviews and things like that. Okay. Quit worrying about these review things. Okay. There will be workarounds to how you're going to get reviews and what you're going to do. Secondly, starting a business where you think you're going to start out gaming the system isn't the way to start a business. Okay. You're not going to game the system always. No one in the world, I never thought in a million years, they're going to keep allowing people to get a bunch of fake reviews up there and do it. So the foundation of your business being, I have to have reviews, 1,000 of them before I start, or 500 or 200 or 100 or 75 is not reality. You do not. Many millions of products are launched and don't have tons of reviews. They start out naturally. They do some of the things that we've talked about and other things. So don't get caught up in this review madness that everybody's panicked about. You can still start your business. If you've got $5,000 to start your business or 10,000, the number one most important thing you can learn how to do in this business, and I'm going to start pounding this every day, is learn how to use pay-per-click advertising. Learn how to use it because everything else is less important than learning how to get your product on the first page. How do you get your product on the first page? Day one. Every time you launch a product, you can 100% be the number one listing on Amazon. Day one, your product goes live. If we get the product, I imagine we could get the product live today, couldn't we, Paul? I mean, it's there. Everything's done, right?
Yep. Okay. It's in. Yep.
So if we assume today that we were going to launch the product today, right? What would happen? We'd launch the product. I mean, that's all it would take for us to start. So I think we talked about a million things, and I'll continue to go on, but we're going to try to get reviews on that product. We'll probably contact some of you guys. We're going to do some things, and we'll see how it's in. But pay-per-click today, if I start my business this afternoon, we could go on in our pay-per-click, and we could be the first product listed on Amazon this afternoon. Well, how's that happen, Rob? That's what pay-per-click does. It gives you whatever spot you want, and you're willing to pay for it. Now, I don't know what the cost on these Zika bands. And by the way, Paul laughed at us the other day. We had a huge chuckle. Oh yeah, these mosquito bands are going to be great in the winter. They're going to be terrific. It's going to be a great thing to have mosquito bands in November and December for Christmas. Just for your Christmas, when you're singing Holly Jolly Christmas in the backyard, roasting marshmallows while Santa Claus comes, you'll need your special Zika bands. So again, those are those things that you're not going to predict are going to happen. And you know what we should have done at the end of the day, Paul, is we should have said, eat it and go back and got us another $100 worth of product. So we didn't, and but those are lessons learned. Even us who've done it, like sometimes people outside of your control will get in the way.
Road bumps.
Yes. And they're going to be there. There are huge potholes. But the number one thing, if you're here right now, the number one thing that you have done is you've allowed yourself to be in a place where you have people that can tell you these things, people that can be your mentors, people that can guide you, people that can give you answers that have just got the next answer done. The most important answer you can get is the one that's the next question. And guess what? A lot of us who have done this are really far away from that. So people in the Facebook group, in the mastermind or the base camp, those people in there can answer questions for you that I may not even see in reality anymore. Guess what? A guy that's selling $1 million a year, people often have people on, their shows or whatever about, oh, I'm doing $1 million. Guess what, man? You're so far away from what I'm going to do as a new business owner that doesn't even matter. Like you can't even remember where I was and trying to figure out how to do this thing or that thing. It's not even in your reality anymore. So find people who are selling $5,000 a month and go talk to them because they're paying their house payment and that's what you want to do. So competition wise, yeah, we've always been teaching. If you would have been, listening to us all along or if you just got here, our strategy has always been to find low competition items. Quit trying to be on the front page of barbecue gloves because you're not going to be a rock star tomorrow. These people have 5 years on you and 10,000 reviews and sales volume and history and all kinds of things ahead of you that are not going to allow you to go jump on the front page. So remember, you're picking a product, you're competing with every product in that category, not number 10 that you decide, oh, that's my product. It isn't your product. Your product is in a category of products and you have to evaluate the whole entire category. I don't care what one product on that page is doing. It's just the silliest thing in the world to go look at one product on a page and go, oh, that's my product and that's how I'm going to sell and that's how much I'm going to sell. Like what makes you think that you're going to go be number 8 on the front page in the next 2 months or 3 months, like with your $1,500 or your $3,000 or your $5,000 or your $10,000? Can it happen? Yes, but it's a shot in the dark. Figure out how you can find a product, be on page 3 and 4, sell $3,000 to $5,000, sell $2,000 a month, take that $600, and then after 3 or 4 months, go out and get you another product and try to slowly build because your cash flow can go into multiple products, spreading out your liability over multiple products. So a couple of things Paul and I talked about, like maybe some of the most important things, and maybe I'm actually going to prepare a video on this, a real quick video, but what the 5 most important attributes of a winning product are to us. And a couple of them are, one, that it doesn't sell more than, and I keep moving this figure around, but let's call it between $200,000 and $350,000 a month. If you get a product selling more on the front page, so meaning you analyze the data on the front page, and on that front page, your product is doing $500,000 or $1 million on the front page, meaning you add up all the sales in a Jungle Scout scan or ACE Inspector or Unicorn Smasher, and it comes up and it says it's doing $500,000 or $1 million. Well, right out of the gate, you're now going to compete with people selling, maybe have $1 million businesses. They sell $30,000, $40,000 a month. And then everybody else has reviews because the category is real deep. How are you going to compete with that? Like you just started your business. You have no idea what you're doing. Like, what are you thinking? You can go be a rock star. You can go be an NBA basketball player. You can be a singer. You can, whatever it might be. Like, you're not coming out of the gate winning like that. And some people say I'm a downer because I say that. No. I want you to be successful. And the first thing you got to do is make $100. Don't tell me about making $1 million. Make $100. Make $100 because that's the most important money you're ever going to make. And I'm going to tell you this, it's harder to make your first $100 than it is the next $1 million. Okay? Making $100 in your Amazon business probably is more important and harder to make than the $1 million because getting there is the hardest part. So anyway, that's my spiel for the week. So get yourself a product that isn't super competitive, less than $300,000 on the front page. And then what will happen is naturally that number, if you look, I just kind of what I've noticed is that the second page will usually have half of that, maybe 40, 50% of that number, and it kind of goes backwards. So, which gets to my other thing. I want to be able to get on page 5 of a product, and hopefully by page 5, the number of sellers that are selling and relevant steadily decline. I hopefully will start seeing products that aren't associated with my product. The keyword kind of matches, but they're not really my product. So that means if somehow I find a product and it has the right thing, it's actually the answer that Amazon looks for when you look for it, then how much easier is it going to be to rank on page 4 and 5 out of the gate and possibly sell $1,000 a month? $1,000 a month, Rob, well, that's not much. That's $300 in your pocket. That pays your electricity bill, your cell phone bill, and, probably not your cable because cable's now $400 a month. It's not going to pay your insurance payment. I know that. But so those 2 things. And then I suggest you don't get a product with more than 200 competitors. 200 competitors is a lot of people. Now, there are 10 categories out there with 1,000 sellers in it. I try to realistically try to keep my number under 200. I'm not going to go into how do you figure out how to 200, but basically you do your keyword research, and you're going to we've talked about this in some other videos about how you kind of define how many competitors there are. There's a couple of things you need to do. It's not very hard, but find out how many competitors you are. And then those two things right there will get you a long ways down the road as far as your strategy. But keep it simple in that fashion, because oh, well, it's selling this many a day. Don't forget that. Figure out how you can be on page 5 and sell $1,000. Because secondly, the other thing is that your pay-per-click money, I got somebody, I listened to it today. I read the post today. She bought a product, she gets done, and then she's making $2 after she figures all her fees out, and her pay-per-click cost is $5 per unit. If you got a product that makes $2, I don't care. You can throw money at it for the next 10 years at $5 a hit. It's not good. Now, here's a cool thing you can do. If you look at I have a pay-per-click thing we did with Brian this week. And if I didn't have Taxaway, I would have it launched. But I'll send this out, and it's the most amazing 2 hours about pay-per-click you probably heard. But he has a way in this video which he talks about how you can test keywords out and find out what the purchase price on the keyword. It's not very hard. So you can find out what the bid on your keywords are for this product that you may be launching. So when you do your calls, you can have a pay-per-click account, and then you can put in your keywords and find out what the bid is. It's kind of a backdoor way to find out how much it costs to buy something. So then if you're doing your numbers, you look back and go, man, these things cost $3, $5. The top 3 keywords are all, $3, $5, and $7 to get into this. I don't think I realistically compete. Most important thing to being successful is being a great pay-per-click person, because our whole goal is to be on front page 1. Well, guess what? If I'm on page 1, I'm going to show you how to do that, which is pay-per-click. So any other questions from the gallery? I've talked for an hour and 40 minutes today. That makes up for the last couple of weeks. I kind of just listened to you guys. I probably could go for another 2 hours, but I'm going to go to bed.
We just had one comment from the base camp. It was from Cindy George. Guys, thank you very much. The webinar was awesome tonight. Caught it via YouTube feed live, and you hit all my questions and concerns. Thank you so much. I feel great about growing my business correctly.
Hey, that's kind of that whole deal. If you touch one person in your life, I feel good. Well, apparently somebody heard it and got some information. So guess what? It was worth me getting up after 4 hours sleep and sharing this with you. As you can tell, by the way, if you look here, my little apartment, it's getting my pictures up. This is my own artwork in here. It's like a real house, which is nice. So weather's getting beautiful here. The temperature's dropped enough. Rain's only every couple of days now. And it's going to be about 87 today. It was like 74 last night. It'll only get better and better until it gets down to about 80 degrees for about 3 months. 65 at night, and I'll be enjoying. Hey, if you're not friends with me, make sure you get on the friend page. I've been posting a lot more pictures. My Instagram account is GrandFantastic1, like the number 1. And you can see a lot of my pictures. Yesterday, I had my first big spoonful of MSG. I went to the store, got a bag of this thing, and I said, "Is this sugar?" "Oh, yeah, sugar. Okay." I get home, make my coffee, take a big teaspoon, put it in there. Ooh, by the way, it does not make coffee taste better to put MSG in it. I'm just telling you. As a matter of fact, for probably whatever it does, it gets on your tongue. And I promise you, for 3 hours, I was just horrible. I was washing my mouth out with Listerine, and none of it worked. So that was my experience of the week. And I saw a purple dog. I was eating lunch yesterday. By the way, I was eating lunch, and it cost 90 cents for my meal. And that was a lot of food, rice, side, some soup, everything, 90 cents. And I got a $4 haircut the other day. But there was a purple dog. Somebody had dyed this little cute dog completely purple. And dogs don't go on leashes here. They just walk the streets. So there's dogs everywhere. And my last tip of the day is that if you ever come to Chiang Mai, look for 2 things. look for dog poop. And I know that sounds stupid, but there's this many dogs. And I'm telling you, in a year, I've not seen dog poop on the street or anywhere. Like, I just, like, I don't know where all these dogs go, but apparently they got them trained, because all these streets, I call them soy dogs. They're just dogs. And most of them are people's dogs. They just stay outside their house and just let them run free. You know, I go past the same places, always the same dogs sitting out front, laying in the road. Sometimes you got to go around them. And I never see dog poop. There's dairy. I know that's kind of silly, but, and then I don't see the puppies. So there's all these dogs. Where are the puppies at? So I only see dogs that are, you know, older dogs. I don't see puppies. So I don't know where the puppies are, and I don't know where the dog poop is. So if you ever figure that out and you're in Thailand, you let me know, because I can't figure it out. All right, guys, if you have any questions, man, we went on longer than I normally do, and I guess that's because it was my topic that I love to talk about. And if you want to talk about being sued or attorneys or anything like that, and you want to hear somebody rant for an hour or two, you call me up and we will get it on, because I will tell you how much I hate attorneys. And I'll tell you about my current lawsuit. Never been sued through an email and a letter, a certified letter to a PO box. But the problem is that they might get a default judgment. Judges don't judge. By the way, judges, what you think is right and wrong, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. They do what they want to do. They're an attorney too. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm glad you listened to me. I'm glad hopefully you found something in there that is valuable. That's what we try to do. I guess signing off from Thailand, Paul.
Signing off from sunny Philippines. I didn't do anything this week. Let's make a change. But I couldn't actually chip in on that one. Very, very good. Excellent.
Good.
Mr. Good night from Orlando.
Back in Orlando. Dave Stewart's in California, or I don't remember where he's at, but somewhere. I know he's in California, maybe. Well, anyway, guys, man, we appreciate you. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care, team.
Well, you got to turn the button off.
I'm trying.
This is usually where I take off my shirt and I'm like, woo! See the on YouTube.
Yeah. It ain't going to work. I'm just going to close it down.
All right. Bye. Me too.
All right.
See you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.